Okay, let's try something completely different. This is purple with green flake in it, green and purple flake in it. Completely different color than we were using before. We'll see how this works. See if this becomes our new confidence color, and we'll see if the fish like this as well. Like I said, you really should change up, especially if you're catching a bunch of fish. You know, change up, go to something else. You know, I mean, unless you're fishing a tournament and you really just want to keep exhausting that bait. But I tell you what, and hopefully in practice, you practice with different colors, so you had a backup to go to, because something changes, the cloud cover changes, the brightness of the sun changes, the water clarity changes, and color changes are soon to come. And if you're not confident in that second and third and fourth color, you could be in trouble. And if you're just out having fun, yeah, switch it up, see what works. Especially if you're making, like me, I'm making all my swim baits. So I just want to know, what color should I make? I can make any color I want, so I experiment with a few. A couple, you know, are safe. You know, the green pumpkins, the watermelon reds, you know, those are all pretty safe. But the one I was catching them on earlier, I mean, that's just something I just like, well, let me see if I can make this chartreuse with a little bit of baby bass in it. See if that works. And it's been working pretty good. First time I've tried it. This is the first time I've tried this purple too. So we'll see if this works. And how much time should I give it? Oh, we should give it some time. We'll give it some time. And it's the same head, the same line. Different rod. I'm going to that spinnerbait rod that I like from G. Loomis. It's, what do they call this thing? They call it extra fast. Who knows? Who knows what extra fast is? Every rod company's different. You never know what you're getting. You go extra fast. Unless you actually get there and bend that rod, preferably with line on it. You know, line, pull it, see where it loads and locks, and see if that'll work for your technique. If not, you have to make modifications to it. You could go to, you don't have to give up on that rod, but you use it for maybe braid or fluorocarbon, or mono might perform better under certain situations. Just got to remember to slow down. Try to remember to keep everything the same. We were biting the other bait when it was slow, so I got to slow this different color. I think it looks pretty good myself, but you know, I don't have gills, so I'm not qualified. That's beyond my scale, so to speak, pay scale. Now this rod has a little more give in the tip, so those fish that were like kind of grabbing it and kind of choking it down, they'll just get it. They'll get it on the first suck. As soon as they suck it in, they'll get it, and then the rod will load, and I'll have to set the hook. Well, the other rod was a little bit stiffer, and they were coming up, and they did tap, 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 load. This one will be tap, load, and then you set the hook. So we'll get in and work some of the shallow area again. We're in about 5 feet of water here. Water looks like it got a little bit cloudy because the wind's blowing on this. That's one of the things the wind does. When it blows on a bank, it'll muddy that bank up at the shoreline, and then eventually that stained water will find its way out, and you'll end up with a little bit more stained water than you started with. And that chartreuse probably shows up a little bit better, but we'll see. We'll see. Swimbait is probably one of the most natural looking moving lures. I've been trying to think if there's something more natural. I mean, I like swim jigs. You know, they don't really have a lot of movement to them. This has a lot of eye appeal. Looks like just a vulnerable solo bait fish out there wandering around going like, I'm game. And the bass will just eat. Obviously with any moving bait, you know, you want several factors. You don't want the fish to get too good of a look at it. With this bait, it doesn't matter so much that they get a good look at it. But I like to chop on the water, because that means bait fish are probably moving around. And if they're moving around, then they'll go after a bait like this. I don't know what keeps hitting it there, but here he is. Yeah. Boy, that fish thumped it too, boy. Come on up here. Come on up. So maybe it doesn't matter what color it is. Maybe they like this color. I don't know. They seem to be eating everything. Maybe it's something I'm doing. Or maybe it's location. Maybe, right? Go. Who knows? But that's the fun thing I find about fishing, is that you try different things and they all seem to work, and you go like, well, why'd I catch them today and I won't catch them tomorrow? I didn't catch them the day before. And there it is. There's another one there. So you don't have any idea. That's again why this game is so much fun. I've made about 20 casts with this bait, and then I make 2 in a row and catch fish. Kind of neat. But this is a little guy. We'll let him go. We'll let them all go. How about that? Let's do that. Let's just let them all go. All right, catch one over here this time. See, I'm in a place that's got some patchy grass, and both of these fish have come off of grass. We found this with the other bait. This spot worked out pretty good with the other bait too. The other color. Should we try a third color? I don't know. I catch a couple more with this, and you want to do that? You want to try to do that? See if we catch one with a third color, and then we'll just call it a day. I'm getting tired of throwing the same bait all day. All right, so one more with this bait. Oh, he got off. One more with this bait, and then we'll change colors again. We'll go completely different. And we'll take a close look at these baits side by side later on and see what the difference is, because they don't seem to care. They're going after these baits no matter what. Is the lead head key? Well, it's the only thing that's consistent is that we're throwing the same weight, the same line. Those are 2 important factors. But the color of the bait, I mean, that just, for a lot of people, that's like, huh, why'd you change colors? Well, to prove a point. Color is not the most important thing. It's what you're doing with the bait, where you're casting the bait, how you're fishing it. Those are more important. And anybody who's ever fished with me finds that out rather quickly, because I will cut off my bait and give it to them, and I'll use their bait and keep catching them, because I figured out what it takes to get them to bite. It's the second level of my fishing triangle. Remember that fishing triangle? First level is casting. Got to be able to cast. Second level is lure presentation. How to get the fish to bite. If I threw this Texas rig and dragged it on the bottom, they wouldn't bite it. They might not bite. Okay, we're gonna take a break. we're gonna switch colors. We're gonna switch colors. How's that? We'll switch colors again and see if that makes a difference. It's a little guy, but let's see. Little one. This is the head I'm using. It's a 1/4 ounce, so that's small, but it's got more lead here, and it really grips the bait. And I tie a Palomar knot just like I do on everything else. Put the bait back in through the loop and pull the tag in. There's the tag in it. Let it down. And pull it tight. Now what I also do, and I picked this up from Dion Hibden. I'll give him credit for this. He ties an overhand knot at the end of his knot. See, this is the part that we didn't want to use anyway because it was all squiggled up. from tying the knot. That's why you pull the tag end, because you're going to cut that part off. Now the tag end points that way instead of that way. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow this seam, come out about here. So I want the tail to be down, and I'm going to come in. This color is completely different than what we were using before. I'm going to try to do this on camera so you can see this. Just follow that seam, and the seam is right there. Come out right dead center of that seam, and before I put it all the way up, I'm going to get a drop of super glue, and I like the gel control. That's it, gel control. And I like just to put a little bit on these barbs. There it is, just a little bit on those barbs. Slide this up, and as I slide it, I kind of twist it so I can get that glue spread out a little bit. And then boom, all done. That was it. Sorry, if you missed it, you missed it. That's a totally different color. I call that one peanut butter and jelly, or jelly and peanut butter. I'm running out of colors. I got a bunch of colors. I'll show them at the end of this thing, all the different color combinations, and give you a recap of the ones that worked and the ones that worked better, because they all seem to be working. I don't know whether that's just me, where I'm casting, how I'm working the bait, or what, but it's a slow retrieve with this thing. This is the peanut butter and jelly one. I just made these, haven't tested them out. You and I are sharing this experience. Sure looks good in the water. Looks real good. See if there's any fish there. And we'll move around a bit and give this guy, the one just bit it right there. There he is. What did it take? 2 casts? 2 or 3 casts? Should we try a different color? Are you getting the point? I think if you get hung up on a color, you know, you're gonna be in trouble. You're gonna be in trouble. I like catching bass. I like catching bass better when I catch them with lures that I make. So when I make lures, I base the colors on ones that have worked. And I like to do combinations. I never just pour a straight color. I don't know why. I just like pouring 2 different colors. It took me a while to figure out how to do this with the injection mold. The way I do it is the injection molds come in 2 pieces, a left and a right, okay? So what I do is I take both the left and right and I lay them down, and then I pour some different colors in the center. I don't want it to go all the way to the tail, and I don't want it to get it too close to the head, because then it won't fill up with plastic when you hit the injector. So I get it real hot and I pour it there, and then I rotate the mold so that it kind of fills it top to bottom and covers the side a little bit. But it adds a little contrast to the bait. You can do like I've done with the June bug one, the purple with the green. I basically used a real clear plastic. I didn't have any color in the plastic itself, so the glitter stands out a lot more. It doesn't kind of blend in, doesn't get lost in the purple. If I put that green in the purple, you'd see it, but it would kind of get lost in there. The way that I poured it, you ended up with a clear background, and so it suspended the glitter in there rather than it getting lost in all that purple. Let's see if we can get a couple more with this guy. I like wind-blown banks. Say that a few times. Wind-blown banks. Wind-blown banks. Okay, we got that. I like them. It brings fresh water to an area, blows it, you know, gets it all churned up, gets oxygen in it, brings food for the bait fish and the whole food chain. They all get excited. This works just about any time, you know, any time of the year. A little bit different in the winter time because it gets really shallow on some of these banks, and if it gets too shallow, too far away from deep water, they won't come up and get it. But generally, except for the coldest temperatures, fish can be caught shallow all year round. This is the peanut butter and jelly one still. I don't think I have time to grab a fourth color. I think you got the idea. Color for me is the last thing I'm thinking about. Depth and speed are the first two, but color, I don't know. I mean, some guys get just like, I mean, I guess that's why all these companies, Zoom and Yamamoto, they got so many colors, they have to number them. You know, yeah, I caught them on 455 the other day. Tried 458, but it didn't work. Had 2 less flakes of red in it, you know, and they wanted those extra 2 flakes of red. I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes it makes a difference. I think if you cornered a few professional bass fishermen and said, all right, you got 3 colors. Oh, that's easy. You know, I want either a black or blue. I want a green pumpkin and I want a watermelon. Okay, we're done. That's all I need, 3 colors. But we end up with so many, and I don't know why. I don't know how. I think Zoom was the one who really started that, and Yamamoto kind of jumped on it too. There are a lot of different colors. Oh, there's another bite. There's another bite. Come on. Oh, he was there. Might have been one of those little trout, because look what he did. He ate the tail. All right, we got a different color. What the heck? Let's go color number 4. See how that one works. Also have a different kind of head. Not that it'll make any difference. This one might be a little bit heavier. I didn't bother checking. I just grabbed one that was already rigged up. And we'll see. Totally different color though. Now this one I did mark the belly orange. So this one has an orange belly. This one's made by Mustad. This head, it's got a screw. You screw the bait onto it. Those are really good too, once you figure out how to do it. You look at it, you're like, well, how? Yeah, just screw it on? Yeah, that's all you do, you screw it on. All right, we should get one now. We're coming right over a grass line. Yep. Oh, there he was. Here he was. That's about the only thing these fish will do to these baits that will mess them up, is they will eat those tails off of them. This one just sort of grabbed the tail and it snapped back. I don't know what they think it is, but I think there's some colors in nature that stand out. And I think green, brown, they stand out. Maybe blue. Maybe orange, maybe red. Those are things, those are like red from their eyes and gills. Blue, you know, sometimes there's a little bit of blue in bluegill. Certainly in herring and shad there's blue. And of course brown, green. So anytime you have a bait that's got a mixture of those, I think you're doing all right. Or even if you mix them all together. I think if you mix all the colors together, you end up with brown or something. Maybe brown, that's the universal color. The fish are going like, oh, that's brown. That's just every color. That ought to be good. So they're not too particular when you offer them something that they see every once in a while. things look exactly. I mean, some of the swim baits that you're buying today, I mean, you're talking the hand painted and, you know, the bigger ones. Those things are, you know, 40, 50, 60, 100, 200, 500, 600, $1,000. They look like fish, and trout seems to be a good one. I told my wife she should make some trout colored earrings with a trout pattern, and maybe, you know, women would buy those and then they'd get more guys, you know, instead of trying to come up with all these pretty designs. Come up with rainbow trout. That'll get a guy. Get his attention anyway. Might not catch him, but definitely get his attention. There we go. The oddball color comes through. I'll have to look at this color. I don't even remember what it was. Come on, fishy. Let's take a look at our bait here. We're more interested in that than we are the fish. I guess it's like a bone color. I know I painted the belly orange. So the belly's orange. It's got some purple flake in the side. That's about it. The fish liked it. Good, like a couple more casts and we're gonna go. I'm hungry. If you only learn one thing today, color should no matter. It no matter the color. You make it the cast, you make it the presentation, you set it the hook, you catch it the fish. Pretty simple. Pretty simple. And you'll get guys that tell you, oh, you gotta have this color, you gotta have that color, or if you don't have this, you know, and then you gotta put a dot here, a dot there. Man, I've been fishing a long time. You know, I don't fish tournaments anymore and never really fished at the top level tournaments, but, you know, never saw that was a big deal, that color. I used to drive the Zoom rep crazy. We'd go fishing and he'd go like here, and I have buddies that go crazy too. I'll when I bust up a worm and go to replace it, I'll put a completely different color on there, and the Zoom rep was there with all these lizard colors. I don't even know how many color lizards I caught fish with over my lifetime. I mean, chartreuse being one of the oddball colors to me, but I like it. I use chartreuse, but there are probably 20 or 30 different colors of green pumpkin and cotton candy and green pumpkin cotton candy and cotton candy green pumpkin cotton candy. I mean, there's just so many that you know, just you could get you could get crazy over this stuff. Find a couple colors, that's all you need, you know. And I play around with colors I make. There's nobody has this bait in this color. I mean, there's maybe, I doubt it. I mean, it's just a color that I was experimenting with when I first got the molds from Lurecraft. I was experimenting. Gosh, I just had another one there. They're biting it, but they're not holding on. Gotta hold on. But I experimented just to see what the mold looked like and how, you know, how to inject it. So I just melted down some old plastic, dumped them in there, and came up with some oddball colors, and figured, okay, I'll put some dye on it and make it look like something. But I don't know. I don't know what these fish think this stuff is. They just see an easy meal. They see something swimming by. They go, man, I'm hungry. I don't care. I don't care what her cooking's like. I'm going to eat that thing. Do not care. Do not care at all. One of my favorite clients, actually a really good friend of mine now, we were fishing together, gosh, 22, 23 years ago, and it was one of the early trips. He thought color made the big difference, and I grabbed some cheap Walmart worm, threw it on there, caught fish with it, and every time we go fishing, he brings that story up, and it's true. I just don't buy into colors. I don't buy into it. You can catch fish. Now, maybe, you know, one color one day is better than another color another day. And again, I think that has to do with water clarity, the amount of sunlight, the chop on the water, you know, the temperature of the water, what the fish color of the fish are, because fish change color too. You catch bass, sometimes they're almost pale, and then you catch them other times and they're golden, and some other times they're dark green. And they just change colors based on their environment. I'm gonna put my power poles down, and I'm gonna catch this guy, or his buddy, or his buddy's buddy. But one of you guys is coming to the boat. One of you. And you have to decide who it's going to be. Just make up your mind. Just one of you guys. Gills and tail and scales, that's all we're looking for. A lot of guys say, oh, why do you use your power poles? Why don't you just stay on the trolling motor? Well, I could stay on the trolling motor. I mean, I've done it for 30 years. I've been on trolling motors. But they make noise, and they stir up the bottom when you're fishing shallow, like, you know, shallow enough to use power poles. There we go. Oh man, how do you get off? Hey, I'd say we had a pretty good day. I hope that you will try Swimbaits. Not only try Swimbaits, this is the one I've been using is what they call a 3.8. Kitech makes one, but this is one that I make, and I make it with a mold that I got from Lurecraft. And I like it. It looks just like a Kitech. The 3.8 is 3.8 inches, so it's almost a 4-inch bait. I use a 1/4 ounce ball head jig. This one is a 1/4 ounce, but it has more lead inside, and that lead has more bait keepers on it. So this one works really, really good. Sorry, I don't remember where I got it, but I'm sure you can find them anywhere, or any 1/4 ounce with a good bait keeper on there, or you can go to my YouTube page and see my video on how to add really good bait keepers. So we caught them good on this color. You can see and this is a double pour here, so this is not one color. This is basically, it's one pour, and then I added the purple. We also caught them on what I called my peanut butter and jelly, which is brown with the purple all through it. So it's purple and brown. So we caught them on that. And we caught them on chartreuse with basically watermelon. And chartreuse with watermelon with red flake. And that seemed to work just as well. But I've made other colors. I call this one cotton candy. It just looks like cotton candy. I haven't tried it yet. I'm going to. Basically a green pumpkin with copper flake. I got that going on. You know, here's one that I call bone and blue. So it's kind of a bone color, but it's got a little bit of blue in the middle of it there. You can make whatever you want. Just keep in mind, make long cast. This works really good in clear water. Doesn't have to be crystal clear. Works good with clouds. It works good with chop, and it works good with a slow retrieve. Okay, thanks for watching this video. Tell your friends about us, like us, and if you don't mind, please subscribe and have your buddies subscribe too. Thank you very much. Captain Steve Chaconis out.